guys, what is up? Thank you for joining in today, and today we are going to be talking about spiritual awakening. So some of you clicking onto this video might already know what a spiritual awakening is, and some of you are asking, what the heck is that? So basically, what a spiritual awakening is where old beliefs no longer serve you. You'll start to get certain blockages and start to see life for what it actually is. A lot of us were conditioned growing up to only think that this is all we are. This 3D reality, what we see is what we get, basically. And that's not the case. There's so much more to us. There's so much more to the universe. Our whole world is basically a magical place, and we can create our own reality and not even know it. When you start to kind of release all these old beliefs that no longer serve you, you kind of can start getting into a more spiritual stuff, I guess. You might be becoming a little bit more curious on esoteric cards, crystals, starting to actually search for the meaning of the universe and how the world actually works. Basically, why we exist and why we're even here. So everyone is going to be different. Everyone is different. So everyone's going to have a different spiritual awakening. Everyone's going to have a different process. Spiritual awakening is realizing your spiritual purpose in life, why you are here, why you were brought here. You can even unlock all ability to have spiritual ability. You can even become more psychic. And there's different forms of that where, you can either read people's minds or know the future or see what's going to happen next. And that's why we have psychics. They are born tuned with their spiritual higher self, which allows them to see and hear things that, we'll say, someone that does not have a spiritual awakening have yet. Or if you're still going through the process and you're still awakening all of those abilities. Which then kind of leads us to a Kundalini awakening, which you kind of have to go through a spiritual awakening first to get to the Kundalini awakening. And basically the spiritual awakening is just realizing that you're here for more than what we see. The Kundalini awakening will start to basically unlock your purpose in life, your spiritual purpose. What it is that, we have all these different chakras in our bodies, and they all have different meanings. And the energy goes from your root chakra all the way up through all your other chakras to your crown and out the top, which then you hit an enlightenment point. You then can even start unlocking gifts that you didn't even know that you had. But it's not that easy, not just to get all this energy and then have it shoot through all your chakras and then you're just this amazing, blissful, peaceful person that no one can ever bother because love has your soul and that's all it is. No, actually, it can be a little messy and it can be beautiful, but what can happen is that when it's shooting through your chakras, it can get stuck at certain levels, and depending on what is going on and what is coming up, you have to deal with that and go through that in order to feel that enlightenment and happiness and bliss again, to then have it happen again and then go through that. It's repetitive. It's just going to keep happening. And basically what you're doing is you're purging all of this negative emotion and problems that you dealt with for so long and that you have kept inside and maybe not even realized how much you were keeping inside because it was so locked deep down. So as it's getting stuck at your chakra, it can bring up not only past memories, it can bring up basically reliving that emotion, that feeling, that moment. And, the best way to get through it is just knowing that that bliss feeling is on the other end as soon as you get through it. And you will get through it. And this is not an easy process. When you're going through life and you haven't been through a spiritual awakening, things happen, and your happiness happens, and your happiness can be about here, your problems can be about here, But when you're going through a Kundalini awakening, your happiness is up here and you are just on cloud nine, and you literally, nothing can bother you, nothing can take that away from you. It doesn't matter what happens, you are just in this blissful, peaceful moment. And when, you know, something happens, something bad happens, or something that gets brought up, you get so low. And, you know, I've always dealt with emotion. I'm an emotional person, and that is what it is. I have plenty of friends that tell me that I'm emotional. I have plenty of people that tell me that I'm an emotional person. And, you know, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being emotional because it allows me to know that I'm alive and I'm real and I have these real live emotions. But when you're going through this Kundalini awakening, it can be so intense that it's like you're either reliving this emotion and this problem, or, you know, you're just extra sensitive. And I didn't think that I can be more sensitive than I actually already am, but it's possible. And here I am. So when that's going on, make sure you find out what it is. What is bothering you? Dig down deep. What happened? What were the emotions that you were feeling before? One of the biggest things that you need to do in those moments that happen is forgiveness. And, you know, I've been through a situation where I thought I forgave someone for doing something awful to me or treating me a certain way. And, you know, it was what it was. And then all of a sudden, when I started going through the spiritual awakening, it came up, but it came up more intense and it came up more emotional. And I just realized how much whatever this was eating at me. It was just tearing me apart. And I didn't realize that until it came to my attention. And I also meditated on that. I meditated on what is going on, what is causing me to think this way, to be this way. And it got brought up. My higher self brought it to my attention on what it was pinpointing at, basically. And I thought I forgave this, but I didn't. And when I truly sat there and not only forgave myself for putting myself through everything that I went through at that point in time in my life, I forgave that person and genuinely forgave that person, because forgiveness is just a crucial thing in especially a spiritual awakening, but in general, you want to learn how to forgive anyone that hurts you and yourself. Make sure that you include yourself, because we are our own critics, and I say that enough. Make sure that you forgive. And when you do that, you slowly start to realize that you can let it go, and then it gets easier, and then a little bit more easier, and then it just kind of fades away. And, you know, from time to time, I've had it come up, and, you know, I've thought about it, but it was never, it has not gotten back to that bad emotional state of what I went through. But then once you're able to let go of whatever is just eating at you, you become just blissful again. There's no other way to describe this, because I've tried to plenty of times, even in my videos. What a spiritual awakening feels like when you're going through that blissful moment is like dreamlike feel. Like it's just peaceful. It's just a peaceful state of mind. Literally nothing bothers you. You are just, I literally will just smile for no reason. I'll be at the store just smiling. Like it's so odd, but it's so great because you just feel so great. And that's the best way that I can describe it as. And then once you realize that you're at that blissful, peaceful state again, then another thing will come up. And then you go through it again and again. And, you know, it is tough. But when you're going through this, it just gets easier and easier. And then you're getting rid of all of this, you know, the demons deep down inside you, to no longer have it serve you in your life. No longer hold on to that negative energy. Not even realizing that you're going through. You will learn a lot more about yourself than you ever really knew. You hold things, like I said, deep down inside you, and you don't even know that they're there, but something bothers you and you don't understand why, meditate on it. Sit down and actually just deep breathe and put on some 432 hertz music and just allow it to come to you. Whatever is holding you back will come up. So just remember, even when you're going through these blockages and you have all this purging of all this negativity coming up, there's still a light at the end of the tunnel, and it is magical. You know, understand what chakras you have as well, and I can do a whole video on those so that you understand which one means which, so that when you're going through something, you understand where it's blocking at and how to help that situation. All of this is just going to help you on what no longer serves you. And unfortunately, when you go through this, you're going to think you're crazy. And I can't tell you how many times I have thought I was crazy. And you know, you feel alone. And typically no one is going through the same thing that you're going through. And as much as you try to explain it, it's just not going to make sense. Luckily, I'm with someone that is completely understanding and is by my side no matter what. But it's very hard to explain what's going on and not sound crazy. These kind of things can cause relationships to fail. They can cause friendships to fail. Just certain things and certain people no longer resonates with you. Going out, or, you know, maybe you used to do something all the time, like, it could be anything, and it just no longer serves you. Like, we'll just say drinking, for instance. It could have been something that I did for, you know, just coping with the situation, or if I had a stressful day, or, you know, it just seemed good to me. Like, it was, not that I was a big drinker anyways, but like still going out seemed fun. And, you know, going through all this, I started to back away from that, and drinking no longer appeals to me. So keep that in mind, that certain things are no longer going to serve you anymore. It's no longer going to be a purpose to do these certain things or have these certain people in your life. You start to realize that these people are not going to benefit me in my life, and then you just get rid of them, and then you just feel a lot lighter knowing that they're no longer in your life. And that doesn't necessarily mean that those are bad people. It's just they just no longer resonate with you and this new path that you're going on. So even after all that mess and all the issues that you are trying to resolve, you still feel a sense of, I'm gonna be okay, because you know that that bliss is on the other side. So some people ask, what's the difference between a spiritual awakening and a Kundalini awakening? They're basically the same thing, but you have to go through a spiritual awakening first to get to a Kundalini. It's basically like a mini Kundalini awakening. Just realizing that there is more to this life. And you start diving deeper into your mindset and start expanding your consciousness. And then this awakens the Kundalini awakening. And then you go through this beautiful, messy, but beautiful situation. Some people might ask, why do I want a spiritual awakening? Why do I want to have a Kundalini awakening? And it might not be for everyone, because not a lot of people are open-minded. And that's honestly blamed on society, because we were raised a certain way. We were conditioned a certain way to not even know that these things exist, that we have the ability to do endless amount of things for ourselves and create our own life and reality. You can unlock spiritual abilities. You can see the future, knowing the future, seeing auras, talking to people that have passed on, astral projecting. Like, there's a ton of different ways that this spiritual awakening can unlock a lot of abilities. And pushing all that to aside, because that doesn't resonate with a lot of people. They don't care about that. And until you go through a spiritual awakening, that might not even ever be on your mind. But it's just connecting with yourself and just having this beautiful moment with yourself and life. You know, some people don't even try to have a spiritual awakening. Sometimes it just happens to them and they don't know what's going on and they don't know how to help it and help you have a more understanding to life and the universe. When you're going through this awakening, manifesting becomes a lot easier as well. I think what I mentioned in one of my other videos is that, you know, starting to go through this awakening process and everything that I've been doing, manifesting has not been an issue. And it's just kind of like life is just handing me things, and whether I'm manifesting it or abundance just keeps coming into my life. And that's one thing that we have to realize, that, you know, when people think abundance, they're thinking just mad amounts of money, or, you know, it's only what they want, and it could be a car or this and that, and they're not getting it, so they're not manifesting anything. It could be as simple as, I went tanning the one day, and yes, I know tanning is really bad, but we'll move on from that. But I was there, and I went to go pay for one of the tanning lotions, and the guy handed me another one. He's like, oh, it's actually going to be buy one get one free, here you go. I was like, okay. So when I walked around to pay for it, and he's like, don't worry about it. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, don't worry about it, I got it. And I was like, okay. So it's things like that that we don't even realize, that these small things come into our life that we get and we're not thankful for them. So be cautious of the small things that actually come into your life, the small abundances, because they add up. And if we're not being thankful of these small things that are coming into our life, that the universe is providing us, but we're not paying attention to, or we're just constantly saying that, you know, something's not going our way, or we're not getting anything. We actually are, but we're not paying attention to the things that are actually coming into our life and not actually getting what we're asking for. It's going to come in a different way, or it might come through a person. It could come through anything, but if you're not being thankful for things, the universe is not going to provide that to you. Be aware that going through this process, manifesting becomes very easy. You'll start to be very focused on yourself and what you want. You'll start to see how you're actually being controlled in this world, and you're not actually thinking for yourself. You won't actually want other people's opinions anymore, because they're just not going to understand you. You'll start to get a more exciting feeling about life. Almost like butterflies are in your stomach, but it's just the most beautiful, breathtaking process. The ego that you once had no longer serves you. You'll just see what you want in a different way. Things you used to do just don't serve your higher purpose. You'll start to look for the meaning in everything. If this is something that you want, set an intention. Having an intention is the most crucial thing if you are trying to have a spiritual awakening. Our mind is so powerful that you can have this come to you in your life. Or if you don't know where to start, there are spiritual gurus. I don't know where to find one, and I don't know what would be the best thing for that. But having some sort of spiritual teacher there with you to guide you or help you move more towards your higher self and your spiritual abilities, then that would be an option as well. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was enough for you to understand. I hope I wasn't too all over the place. I know this is an interesting topic, and I know it's not gonna be for everyone, because not everyone understands it. And you know what? I don't even completely understand it yet, and I'm still learning, and I'm hoping that I help you learn along the way as well. Sorry for the long video, but I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know if there is anything that you're going through that I can help with, or that we can help each other with. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.